Hi everyone, welcome to Abundance, Wellness and Wealth. In this channel, we talk about how an abundance mindset, health, well-being, finance, and money matters in our everyday life and how we can take control of that. Today's topic or video will be centered around the fourth thing, which is on the title of the channel, which is around how do we take control of our lives. And what does control actually look like? Because it's such an overused term. What does it mean, and how we can all use it to benefit us in terms of having our peace, being more in harmony with ourselves, as well as reaching or achieving that abundant life that we are striving towards. So I've broken up the video in two parts. So in the first part, we'll be talking about things that are not in our control, which sometimes we try to control, and that leads to feeling discontent, disharmony with ourselves, just being drained and exhausted. And then we'll talk about what are the things that are in our control that we can focus on. And some tools and tips, and I might go through some situations or scenarios that I've personally experienced, either feeling out of control where I was actually not in control over certain things, and areas where I did feel more in control. So I'll probably give a bit more real life example. I've put together all of these this particular video through a lot of research and readings as well, so I hope you find this helpful. I found it very helpful. Some of the areas of application that I find today's video helpful around control is in workplace environments, because sometimes when we feel overwhelmed with workload, when we feel out of balance or out of control in certain situations, say project deliverable dates or delivery action items, working with people, you might experience sometimes also feeling a bit overwhelmed or exhausted or drained in certain difficult situations that really challenge you, not in a great way, but start to drain you, so you can't really be your full self, and you start to feel a bit awkward or distant in those situations, and some relationships as well. We might feel that you're not quite in harmony with what's going on. So I found this toolkit of understanding control, locus of control. Sometimes people call it that as well, very helpful. Another area where I've experienced it helpful is when you feel a bit discontent or you're not happy with something. You feel very unhappy, and it's good to just keep this checklist and reflect a bit on yourself as well. And the last place also is around people who are going through some big life changes and transitioning to something that they want to grow towards or become, and which I am personally going down the journey. So that is something where you can again find this checklist really useful to understand if you're on the right tracks, especially when you're building towards something, you're catapulting backwards in order to move forward with a lot more momentum. But during that stage where you can't see the results outside, and there's a lot of work that you need to do on the inside, that's where this video is going to be super helpful as well. So diving straight in, so areas of things or control which is outside the circle, so that's areas that's out of our control, which sometimes we for whatever reason think that it's within our control. One of them is the actions of others. So people try to read books, think about, okay, how do I control the actions of others, manipulate them or make them work towards a certain goal or aspiration. And I think it's a bit of you're putting your energy and resources into something that is just going to be not futile at all. it's not going to lead to any sort of benefits or results, because it may or may not happen. So it's kind of out of your control. Another thing is around the past, so dwindling on the past, around, okay, you know, this happened and that happened, and then you're constantly living in the past. So bringing your focus more to the present, and if you see yourself going back to the past over and over again on particular topics, journaling really helps. Writing it down, getting it out of your brain, because your brain's like, you need to listen to this, you need to listen to me. It's like, all right, listen to the brain, and then you move on. You know, because you've got like work to do, you've got more important things to focus on that you're working towards. Another area is, which I think with social media, it's something that really starts to take control away from people, is the opinion of others. So being very selective about who is in your circle of trust, and just really having a sounding board of advisors who guide you through life, as opposed to some keyboard warriors who might be just, you know, shouting comments at you for and trying to bring you down when you're trying to do some good work. You know, so that's again like opinions of others where it's not really necessary or required, but people are entitled to their opinions, so being acknowledging of that. You can't really control their opinions, but you can control the opinion that you have of yourself. Another thing is what happens around you and your environment. There are so many macroeconomic factors, there's environmental factors as well, that lead to certain events happening. Macro trends, you know, you might think you can like predict the weather. Some people think that they can. More often than not, you know, it's mostly based on the bureau, and if there are clouds in the sky and things like that. So, you know, weather reporters, yeah, those people can, but mostly it's around, do you focus on predicting and what's happening around you, or do you center on yourself? And usually, I don't know what that was, it was like a fluff. Anyway, what happens around you is you're just dissipating your energy in unproductive things. Again, what other people think of you. So not only opinions, but you're thinking, oh, how would that person view me, perceive me? What are they going to think about this? Well, you can't really control someone's mind. You know, people are such individual, lovely human beings. They are entitled to their own opinions and their own thoughts. So you can't really go in and try controlling them, yeah, try to like manipulate how they view you. But we will be again talking about the locus of control, where we'll go through some of the things that are within our control after this list. And another thing that you can't control is the future. So, and it also ties in with the next point, which is around results, or you know, you're working towards certain results, certain outcomes, which, you know, we start to say that's our goal, and that's where I think you should refer to the video around goal setting, where we get it wrong, where we want, you know, X amount of dollars by X amount of years, where we're not really like goal setting isn't around getting certain things by certain dates. It's more so around who you want to become and what skills you want to learn, and working towards that, because that is what leads to attracting the results or the outcomes. So you can't really predict the future, you can only prepare for it. You cannot control the future. You also cannot control the outcomes of your actions, how they're going to be received and things like that. You can only control your actions. Which brings us down to the locus of control, or you know, things that are within our control, which leaves you feeling empowered, enthusiastic, looking forward to life, you know, looking for new things to do, creative things to do. It just like brightens up your day, makes you feel really bubbly and excited to, you know, to wake up every morning as well. One of the things is around your thoughts and actions. It's, you know, every morning you wake up, you prime, you know, you prime your thoughts, you prime your actions, you've got a to-do list. Focusing on that, even though you would have other priorities piling on. Someone might say this is urgent, someone might say that is urgent, but you need to like start to focus on yourself and say, I understand, I acknowledge that that's urgent, I've written it down, but I've got 2 other things that I need to go through, and then let me get back to you around this really urgent item in 10 minutes time or in an hour's time. Give them certain time frames and then just say whether that's going to be okay with them or not, and they'll probably say yes. More often than not, I've never got a pushback when someone said this is urgent, this is due right now, you got to get to it right now. I say let me just collect myself and get back to you in half an hour, in an hour's time. I go through my to-do list, the things that I need to do first, because those things are urgent for me. Focus on that, and then focus on other people as well, because it's really important to help and give back. Another thing was also around a very important one, which we tend to overlook, is your relationship with yourself. How do you talk to yourself? How do you talk to your own mind, your own body? What kind of words do you use? That's really important to keep yourself energized and going. You need to be your own cheerleader first before you can start to expect others. You can't even expect others to recognize and appreciate that. People just do, who look after themselves, and are kind and gentle to their own selves. Because the way you treat yourself, you're going to treat everyone else around you, and people do notice that. So treat yourself well, treat yourself really well. And the other thing is also around, within your circle of control, is how do you spend time and with who? So remember, you always have control over that. You might think that, oh, I don't really have control over that because, my boss said I have to go there, I have to do this. It's like, okay, you still have control about how long you're going to spend there. You can go prepared, focus on your list, focus on your questions, and get out of there. If it's someone that you don't want to engage with, keeping it short and sweet and to the point is always effective to get the work done, at the same time maintaining your health, well-being and sanity as well. So how you spend your time with who. Another thing is also around what I give my energy to, and also around which goals. So your outlook, your actions in life, it's all centered around that. What areas are you prioritizing? Because like it or not, a lot of the things that we start to experience over time is the result of the actions that you've already undertaken. So you start the groundwork today, you're going to see results tomorrow, and in a couple of years time it's going to flow through later on. So it's around, okay, where do I want to spend my energy right now so that I can see results in the future? And what goals am I working towards, because that's where I need to spend my energy. What skills do I want to develop? What new hobbies that I want to take on? Okay, I want to make new friends. In what kind of social circles do I want to start to be a bit more active or engaged? You might not get along with every single person, but it's important to respect and acknowledge and have that safe space around for people, but at the same time creating that safe space for yourself. Which brings us to the next point, which is around you do have control over your boundaries. Which is around, when we say boundaries, it's a very, very loose term, because we're all social creatures. It's around what kind of information do you want to share or divulge with people. That's something that helps create a healthy boundary to make yourself feel safe when you're going out in the world, because you don't really know every single person. Some people might not have your best interest at heart as well. So just creating that boundary for yourself, and once you start to peel back the layers and get to know someone, you can start to lower your guard, lower your boundaries as well. And also other things like based on your personality type, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert, you might want to socialize, but maybe one-on-one, or in different ways. So being a bit more aware and assertive of that is also quite important to have your feel empowered and have that control and be in that locus of control. And the last one is around how you handle challenges. So I know this is people might get a bit upset, but it is the fact of life where everyone has challenges. different forms of challenges. Some things that you might find challenging, someone else might not. But we all have challenges in life. That's a baseline. But just because you've got challenges or you're going through difficult times doesn't mean you should be treating other people in a bad way because you're feeling bad. So becoming self-aware, and also managing the challenge. So it's like, okay, I understand this is a challenge, this is what it's making me become, how do I get on top of that? And trying out different ways to address the challenge, as opposed to becoming a victim of the challenge and thinking, oh, I'm in such a difficult situation, I can't get out of this, and things like that. One of the examples that pops in my head was I was reading someone's story. I think it was Ray Dalio's, where he went to a public school. He was raised in the public system, so he was, his dad was, I think he was just a common middle class person, so nothing super fancy. And then after that, how he went on that quest and that journey, where he faced challenges, he stumbled, and he had a really big fall where his business went completely bankrupt. But I think the one that he acknowledges is the skill is around how we faced the challenge and overcame that. That was important. It wasn't the challenge itself. And we're all going to face challenges in life. So hopefully this little toolkit of yours around getting back control, is helpful. Hope these tips come in handy, and also if you find this helpful or you don't find it helpful, and you want to hear about something else, do leave a comment in the comment section down below, and also hit the subscribe and like button to show support for the platform and its content as well. Thank you again for listening. My heart reaches out to yours, and namaste. Until next time.